What's going on, pursuers? Welcome to The Pursuit of Calling, the podcast that provides you with the strategies and tools needed to successfully discover and pursue your calling. Whether it's through inspiring stories, thought-provoking interviews, or quick, insightful episodes on personal growth and development, we've got you covered. I'm your host, Thomas Carney. Enjoy the episode. If you're a Christian man who feels like the weight of your work, your responsibilities, and your future is sitting on your shoulders, this episode is for you. Maybe you're an entrepreneur building something that depends heavily on you. Maybe you're leading at work, at church, in your home, or in several other places in your life, and you believe that if you don't handle something, it won't get done. Well, then this episode is for you. If you're the kind of man who can figure things out, solve problems, make plans, and keep moving, but still struggles to slow down, ask advice, and trust God, this episode is for you. But honestly, it's for me too. I'm not here sharing today as somebody who has mastered prioritization. I'm not standing on the other side of this lesson looking back at the man I used to be. I'm in this right now. I'm trying to discern which responsibilities God has actually given me to carry, which opportunities need to wait, and where I'm leaning more heavily on my own understanding than I am on Him. And this week, one question has kept coming back to me. How do I know what deserves my attention and what I need to trust God enough to put down, even just for a season? Welcome back to the podcast that helps Christian men grow into the men God created them to be, so they can pursue their calling with excellence. Lately, I've been looking through my journals and seeing the same tension show up repeatedly. There is more I want to do than I have time to do. Maybe you can relate. When life feels that full, drift can be difficult to recognize. You may still be working hard, meeting responsibilities, and showing up for people, but on the inside, you know your attention is divided. Today, I want to share what this has looked like in my life recently, and how the Eisenhower Matrix has helped me think through it, and what praying Proverbs chapter 3 verses 5 to 6, chapter 5 verses 5 and 6, has been revealing about my need for control. That's Proverbs chapter 3 verses 5 to 6. And by the end, I want you to identify one area that deserves your attention, one thing that can wait, and one person you may need to ask for wisdom. And I didn't arrive at those three questions or those three items through a perfectly organized plan. I found them by looking back at what I had already been writing down. I want to grow my coaching business. I want to improve as a coach. I want to create the podcast. I want to serve at church. I want to use my responsibility, my development experiences, build relationships, continue learning and growing, and take care of my health all at the same time. Every one of those areas matters to me. I think that is how some overachievers, or like I like to call myself a hyperactive overachiever, that's how we become overwhelmed. We don't necessarily fill our lives with meaningless things. We see several good things and struggle to accept that we cannot give all of them our full attention at the same time. I can take something that matters and immediately assume it needs to happen now. I can see a problem and feel responsible for fixing it by myself right now. I can recognize something I'm capable of doing and never stop to ask whether God is asking me to do it in this season or not. Then the day becomes a series of reactions. I handle whatever is loudest, closest, or easiest to complete. From the outside, that may look productive. It looks like I get a lot done if I were to look at my to-do list and all the check marks on it. But internally, I can feel myself losing direction. And that has forced me to reconsider what drifting actually looks like. I usually think of drifting as doing nothing, checking out, wasting time, or just refusing to act. But I've realized I can drift while working hard. I drift when I keep moving without choosing a direction. I drift when I allow urgent requests to crowd out the things I already know are important. I drift when I postpone prayer, reflection, my health, relationships, or the difficult conversation because something else is demanding an immediate response. Or is it? Eventually, the man I want to become, he just gets the leftovers. That is what I'm trying to change. Recognizing how I was drifting was one thing. I still needed a practical way to decide what deserved my attention. The Eisenhower Matrix separates tasks according to urgency and importance. Some things are urgent and important. Those are the things that need your attention. Other things are important, but not urgent. This is what time with God, your health, important relationships, preparation, and long-term growth often live. These things rarely force themselves into your day. Your relationship with God will not send you a notification because you've been distracted. Your character will not appear as an overdue task on your to-do list. The people closest to you may not immediately tell you that they have been receiving whatever energy you had left over. That is why the important but not urgent category has been confronting me. It asks me to consider what today's decisions are doing to the man I'm becoming. And I've worked through this. As I've worked through this, I've been asking three main questions. What truly matters in this season is question one. What can wait for now is question two. And where do I need wisdom beyond my own? But a framework can only help me organize what I can already see. These questions can only help you so much. It cannot show me what I may be missing. And that is where I need other people. I had a coaching session recently where the client's goals were less tangible than I expected. And as a coach, man, it's so much easier to coach around tangible goals. And as a coach, it's my job to help make those intangible goals into tangible goals so that we can measure growth. I got stuck in a few places. And afterward, he gave me some critical feedback that was blunt and it was gracious. And it was super helpful. If you're listening, thank you. Around the same time, Pastor Lee, one of the founding pastors along with his wife of Amplify Church in Plum, Pennsylvania, he encouraged me to become less rigid on what I thought God's plan was for my life, or at least for this season. I like plans. I love systems. And I love frameworks. I spent years as a developer, building web and mobile applications. Breaking a problem into smaller pieces and building a solution comes naturally to me now. I did it for 8.5 years. That strength can also make it harder for me to ask for advice. I honestly hate it sometimes. Sometimes I already have most of the plan built before I invite another person into the decision. At that point, it's difficult to hear anything that would require me to take the plan apart. I want to become more teachable than that. I want to seek wisdom while it can still influence the decision. Not after I have already decided what I want to do. But this is about more than asking other people for advice. Ultimately, it is about whether I'm willing to trust God when his direction differs from my own priorities. For the past week, from advice, I don't have this in my notes, but from advice from Pastor Lee, I've been praying Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 to 6 every single day over my life and over my future. It goes like this: trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. I expected that prayer to bring clarity to my life. Instead, it shows me how much I want certainty. I want God to direct my path, but I also want him to show me the destination before I begin walking. Right now, I'm discerning what role coaching, web development, fractional employment, or possibly a job could have in my future. I don't have that answer yet. During my conversation with Pastor Lee, I wrote something down that I kept returning to. God's will is greater than what I think best fits my life. God's will is greater than the life I'm trying to make that I believe would fit me best. That's easy to write. It becomes more difficult when God's direction may include something I would not have chosen for myself. I want to submit to his will, whatever it is. That means I have to keep planning, keep working, keep praying, and keep seeking counsel while leaving room for God to change my direction. That is where I am right now. Still working, still discerning, still learning to loosen my grip on the outcome. Your circumstances may be different from mine, but you may recognize that same tension. The desire to follow God while still wanting to control exactly where he leads. So now I want to give you a few minutes to examine what your priorities are. Take a few minutes today and write down the areas competing for your attention. Maybe it's your faith, your family, your health, your work, your relationships, the opportunity you have been considering, the responsibility you are afraid to release, and then ask, what truly matters in this season? What can wait without me abandoning it? Who could help me see what I may be missing? Now, when I say that, I'm not saying you would abandon your health or you abandon your family, you abandon your faith. No. Example, one thing I'm putting on the back burner is doing deep dives into scripture every day. That is not something I need to be doing right now. For my health, that is urgent. That for me, I need to do every day. That's urgent. That's something I need to make sure I'm doing my physical therapy. That goes in. That's something I need to make sure that is I'm putting down as matters in this season. But I want you to complete these sentences. The area that deserves my attention right now is blank. For this season, I am allowing blank to wait. I need to ask this person for wisdom about this topic. I need to ask X person for wisdom about Y. You do not need to solve every part of your life today. To choose one honest place to begin today. You're not going to figure everything out in a day. Once you know what deserves your attention, the next step is turning it into a direction you can pursue intentionally. Once you know what deserves your attention, the next step is turning... Sorry, I was going to say the same thing again. My bad. That is what we do in the free live Grow on Purpose workshop. By the end of the workshop, you will have a clear, written, 90-day goal focused on the man you believe God is calling you to become. And one specific action to take within the next 48 hours. You can keep your answers private, and you will not be put on the spot to share unless you put yourself on the spot. If you are ready to stop drifting and give the next 90 days a clear direction, use a link in the episode description to register for the free Grow on Purpose workshop. I still have more things I want to do than I have time to do. And I don't think, honestly, that's ever going to change. I may always feel that tension. My hope is that I become better at recognizing what God has placed in front of me and more willing to release what does not belong in this season. Because the goal is not to prove how much I can carry. I want to faithfully carry what God has actually given me, what He's calling me to carry. What has He placed in my hand? What has He placed in yours? Until next time, keep pursuing the man God created you to be. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and share this with a man, a friend, a father, a cousin that you believe this episode would help. That would be awesome. And if you would like to share it on social media, that'd be a great help too. And don't forget to leave a review on YouTube, leave a comment, or a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. All right, guys. Thank you. I'll see you next time. Keep pursuing your calling.